Kia ora listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X, Instagram, and YouTube. On YouTube, you will also find some playlists. Thank you to one of my listeners who suggested I put some playlists together of the episodes, make them easier to find. So you'll find a few of those there to help you get through all the episodes. Well, what can I say about sumo other than it is harder than it looks, and evidence that with how much our ozeki and yokozunas have struggled. But the real news, we are now in day 5. We are without a yokozuna. Day 4, he faced and lost to Tobizaru, the flying monkey, in an upset. And today he decided to go Kyujo. I called the match last night on the Sunday morning sumo show live stream on YouTube, and it definitely had the feeling that that was Terunofuji's last bout in the ring. I feel he knows he can't win and will probably now retire as Yokozuna. I'd expect a call perhaps after the basho. I can't see him coming back from Kyujo in this tournament. So let's look at what happened on day 4. As I said, Yokozuna Terunofuji faced the flying monkey Tobizaru in the last match of day 4. Yokozuna came into this match 2-1. Tobizaru also 2-1, having taken out Onosato and Kodazakura. Well, Hoshoryu ragdolled him in a nasty bit of a rugby tackle / throw. So he recovered from that, came to face the Yokozuna. Off the tachiai, Tobizaru does everything he can to keep the Yokozuna from grabbing his belt, keeping him at arm's length. He kept Terunofuji at bay for a little while. Terunofuji eventually grabbed him by one arm for the lock-up, trying to go for the Kimadashi, but he just can't keep it. Terunofuji's footwork is not great at that time. Tobizaru, he got hold and forced Terunofuji back. Terunofuji turned at the last moment and Tobizaru gave him a helping shove on the back of his arm. Terunofuji went down into the alley and you can see how gingerly he was moving. The feeling in the crowd is that this is probably it. The Zabuton cushions, they fly for Yokozuna losing, of course, but certainly not as many as you would normally see in this situation. I think the crowd knew what that was. So Gonayama, he got a Fusen for day 5. That's his 7th or 8th Fusen win. It's becoming a habit for him. Anyway, Kodazakura, day 4, he faced, and I want to say a wounded Kirishima, but he's not really injured. He's just certainly not as powerful as he has been previously, certainly last year and into this year. He's not as good as we've seen him performing. Both are desperate not to lose again. Kodazakura trying to keep his rope run alive. It's on life support at 1 and 2. It's not going to be an easy task from here. Kirishima, having faced the Yokozuna the night before in a difficult bout, he would have been tired. Kirishima is not afraid and he goes straight into the belt off the tachiai, gets a left outside, a right inside belt grip, turns and walks Kodazakura back to the bales and over. Kodazakura's rope run is pretty much dusted at that point. His only chance now is a 12-3, perhaps with a playoff match at the end. That is unlikely. Hoshoryu, the other rope run Yokozuna contender, faced a difficult opponent in Takanosho. Hoshoryu got into a short thrusting battle as he chased Takanosho, who's trying hard to get a belt. He pressured Hoshoryu back and across the bales, but Hoshoryu is totally bent back over with a right inside belt grip, a left loose body grip on Takanosho, and he just used incredible strength with that left hand to pull Takanosho around, using the right hand to help him. Takanosho spun around past Hoshoryu and went over the bales at the last moment. Look, it was an incredible move, and if you were going to call Hoshoryu a Yokozuna, that would define it. It was a really excellent escape and something a class wrestler does. Hoshoryu goes to 4-0. Onosato, our Ozeki at the third Ozeki, he hasn't fired this tournament yet. Arby was up against him. Look, Arby's got some form at Komusubi and a little bit of ring sense at the moment. Arby drove hard for the Nodowa off the tachiai. Onosato responded, but Arby disengaged and retreats fast to let Onosato go down frontways, slipping on the surface. Onosato's feet were not in a great position. Arby handling Komusubi well after day 4 at 3-1. Wakamoto Haru, look, after day three's poor tactics of going Oshi with Oho, I think he got a bit lazy tonight, and that's the way I want to call it. Shodai was driving him back to his favoured position on the bales. Wakamoto Haru, I think he just assumed that was the case and set himself to go back. Shodai, however, stopped halfway. Wakamoto's feet were in a very poor position, and I think they were just in a position to expect to hit the bales so he could reset himself. Shodai pulled up and then pulled Wakamoto Haru down. Hiki Itoshi pulled down, a very poor and lazy tactical choice by Wakamoto Haru yet again. Daisho, he suffered a last-minute loss to Oho. Daisho pressured Oho back to the bales, but Oho had the ability to grab Daisho by the arm with both hands and pull him through. Look, Hiki Itoshi was the call, but it looked like a Totari, or even not quite an Ochari fisherman's throw, and a Totari arm pull, but it's slightly different. But in the end, Hiki Itoshi is a call. It was a great move by Oho, who is impressing so far this tournament. Wakataka Kage, he tried and executed a good little Karasakashi undershoulder swing down on Atami Fuji, who didn't see it telegraphed from a week ago, pretty much. It was coming from a long way. Goniyama, he fired out of the touchy eye on Hiradumi. I think Hiradumi thought he was in last week and got driven out quick smart. Big drive there by Goniyama. Contender for Kimarite of the year so far, day 4 of January, of course, is Ura. He faced the big bear Takayasu on day 4, using a move Ura used on Ryuden last year in 2024 and tried but failed on Wakamoto Haru late last year. Ura pulled off the Tsu Teizori, the underarm forward body drop. It's a thing of beauty. Let's see if I can describe it well for you. Ura goes in hard with the left, but only gets a body grip. He keeps trying, and he got the inside left belt grip. He drove his head at the other side under Takayasu's armpit while holding his right elbow. Takayasu had a hold of Ura under his armpit. Ura is set. Now, Ura turned his body under the armpit and around away from Takayasu's body while holding his arm above him and behind him. Think of him rotating under and now facing up as Takayasu is now behind Ura. As he twists Ura with only the right arm, Ura is in front of Takayasu and pulling on Takayasu's arm that he hasn't let go of. So as a result, Takayasu goes down front ways, almost Kotanage lock style. So he's using the arm to lock him up and pull him down forward. The Tutse Zori underarm forward body drop, and Ura's speciality. If you get a chance, find that fight, watch that move. Hard to describe. Excellent to watch. Takeda Fuji gave us a scare in his loss to Tamawashi. He was oshi-dashied back to the bales and grimaced hard as he went over. I thought it was an ankle again, but it turned out just frustration at losing the match, putting himself in a poor position in that match and losing that one to Tamawashi. So on to day 5, the news was that Terunofuji Yokozuna was Kyujo. Did I call his last fight ever in sumo? It's very likely. Hoshoryu, he faced up his nemesis, Atami Fuji. Atami somehow has a hold over Hoshoryu, and tonight was no different. Hoshoryu should have won this easily, given his form, but I think his tactics against Atami Fuji, I think they need a reset. Hosh and Atami try hard to get belts off the touchy eye. Hoshoryu has a right belt grip. Atami Fuji locks up tight. Hoshoryu tries to use it to pull Atami Fuji over, but Atami Fuji is fairly firm. Hoshoryu again tries to pull Atami Fuji using a hip throw, but he's just not close enough to Atami Fuji's body. Atami now has a left outside belt grip as Hoshoryu goes low, trying to break that balance. Hoshoryu tries for a shitate dashinage open belt throw, but it just pulls Atami Fuji around his body. Atami Fuji looks like he's kind of controlling the movement. and pulls Hoshoryu back across the dohyo with him as he goes backwards. He uses the locked up arms to pull Hoshoryu around his body. Hoshoryu goes up on one leg, no balance, gets flunged and does a pirouette over the bales, landing on his bottom outside the ring. Look, that is a dent in Hoshoryu's chances for Yokozuna, but certainly not the disaster like Kozukura so far. He needs a reset. Atami picks up a bundle of envelopes and another psychological win over Hoshoryu. Kozukura, whatever chances he had left, have now evaporated, with Shodai pulling what was a fairly easy Yorikiri win. Kozukura went really hard at the Tachiai. Shodai got a double belt grip and walked him back and over the bales. Total disaster so far. Not a chance of Yokozuna now, 1-4. Onosato, he continued the fall of Ozekis tonight as he lost to Oho. Big, strong Oho went hard, but Onosato absorbed it. He tried to get in, but Oho gets a hand under Onosato's arm as he's driven to the bales. He used the arm grip to pull Onosato off balance, get away and behind for a last-minute okuridashi behind Onosato. Wakamoto Haru, he didn't fare any better against Komusubi Abi. Again, Wakamoto Haru used his forward tactic, and again it didn't work for him. Abi got a bit of a light slap, then a forearm, then a pull-down attempt that got Wakamoto Haru off balance. Abi ended up driving him back. Wakamoto Haru, you could see as he was going backwards, retreating. He tried a last-minute escape, tried to pull Abi past him, but Abi, he saw it, put the brakes on and finished Wakamoto Haru off at the bales. Wakamoto Haru now in trouble at Abi, 4-1 at Komusubi and handling it well. The Waka Brothers night, it was already on a downer with Wakataka Kage losing to Daisho. Daisho came out thrusting hard as Wakataka Kage. He tried for a Hataki Komi, but he missed it, and that was the moment. Daisho kept up the pressure. Wakataka Kage tried a bit of a dance across the bales, a lateral escape, but it was to no avail. Ura, he faced the Ozeki, the Yokozuna killer, Tobizaru tonight, but it ended both well and poorly for Tobizaru. They locked up with a body grip early. Ura stayed a bit more upright tonight off the Tachiai. He broke off eventually, tried to keep Tobizaru away. Then he went for the big drive as Tobizaru retreated. It was almost an Ura-style retreat at the bales where Ura used to go almost airborne over the bales. Ura pushing forward, almost horizontal, touched down his hand just as Tobizaru was going over the bales. It was a close run thing. However, Tobizaru, he lands down in the first and second rows, taking a bit of a nasty whiplash in the process. There was a young geisha sitting in the second row. She took a nasty blow, but luckily it looked like she was okay at the end. Tobizaru, he was looking very dazed. Took a long time for him to get back up and groggily walk back to his corner. The judges called a mono-e. They gave it to Tobizaru due to Ura's hand touching down. The replay, if you go back to the replay, I'll tell you what, it was probably a lot closer than they thought. Tobizaru was very close to Shinatai or dead body in terms of being out of the ring entirely and airborne, but they did give it to him. Tobizaru is probably lucky they didn't call it a Tori Naoshi redo because he did not look capable. Chiyoshima, he continues a good first week with a win over Takayasu to go 5-0. He got a good outside right belt grip to pull the bear around and over the bales. Good thrusting battle between Ichiyamamoto and Hiradoumi. It ends in a Suki Nage throw by Ichiyamamoto, but they both went over together. They were both trying to achieve the same time. So that's it for day 5. Will Hoshoryu keep his rope run alive? He faces a rested and fired up Gonayama tomorrow. How that goes for him, I am not sure. So far we have in the lead Oho at Magashira 3, 5-0. Chiyoshima Magashira 5. is 5-0. And Tamawashi is 5-0 down in Magashira 10. Our Ozekis, Kodazakura 1-4, Hoshoryu 4-1, Onosato 2-3, Wakamoto Haru 1-4, Daisho 4-1, Komasubi Abi 4-1, Wakataka Kage 2-3, Takanosho still winless, Kirishima 2-3, Tobizaru doing well 4-1, Atami Fuji 1-4, Gonayama 4-1. Oho, as we said, 5-0. Shodai and Ura both 2-3. Hirodumi struggling at 1-4. Chiyoshima Magashira 5, we said, is in joint lead 5-0. Ichi Yamamoto doing well at 4-1. Others at 4-1. Takeru Fuji 4-1. Nishikigi doing well at 4-1. Kimbozan, sorry, I didn't mention, Magashira 14 is also at 5-0, using his extra reach, his long arms to keep his opponents away. A little bit of bulk there as well. Hakuoho not doing awfully, but 3-2 with a couple of wins. And Toki Hayate, his return to Magashira, doing well at 3-2. So that's it for day 4 and 5. Look, it may be Sunday evening before I can post again. I'll see if I can get one up either tomorrow or Saturday night. Thank you for listening. Join me again. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.